We have a response from the development team at Plarium regarding yesterday's video where we talked about stealth nerfs, effectively really big changes to the way that the Hydra head mechanics work when you decapitate them. The basic TLDR of yesterday's video was that ally and multi-hit attacks effectively were significantly reduced in value because once you killed the head, every subsequent attack that you did to that head was removed. Now, we've had a response back. I think the reaction from the community was pretty unhappy with the fact that we've just had a rebalance and now we've got another one. And the biggest problem is you might have taken yourself in a direction using a lot of these champions that now no longer really you would want to use anymore. And there's no compensation for this, right? We've just built them. If I built a new ally attacker because that's the way to do it in Hydra, great. If I built a Teox or someone to pair specifically with my Teox that was a single target damage dealer like Quintus, for me, that's the big concern right now, that is gone as well. So I worry that players effectively have invested in characters that they don't have a use for anymore. Now, all that aside, that's a whole topic of conversation about should they do some refunding. They won't. They've proven they won't in the past, but it is a problem. Now, let's take a look at what they've said in today's Raid Digest and see what their logic and reasoning is. Because one of the questions we had yesterday was, is it an intentional change or have they accidentally broken it based on this? And I did look at the code yesterday, so I've got a little bit of code kind of check. I've looked at like the client to see exactly how they've implemented this change and why it has happened. So after the update 9.3, we noticed a bug with ally attack and multi-attack skills. After the target is defeated, the animations stop, but potential damage that would be added to the target will still be counted, creating a number of tech errors because technically the target no longer exists. Okay, so there's a lot of basically they're trying to cover wool over your eyes. What are they saying here? They're basically saying when you kill a head, you shouldn't be able to do more damage because the head doesn't exist anymore. Well, that's not true. And the reason why I'm going to say that's not true, because if the head didn't exist, then we have killed the head. We have defeated that head. Guess what? We haven't. Why? Because on-kill effects don't work against Hydra. The way that the Hydra technology effectively works, I have a Hydra head. When I expose the neck, when I kill it, the Hydra's skill set changes. It becomes a different variant. Effectively the same character, different variant, but it already exists, right? The character never is removed. That's why you can never kill a Hydra head, because you don't defeat the character. The character's not removed from the battle. You haven't taken them out. Effectively, it becomes a variant of that character that is permanently alive. You can never really kill a character. When you then expose the neck and you defeat it and the neck comes back, it changes back to its variant, but it picks one of the other random ones, right? It picks one of the heads that are not up. And that is how it is doing it. It's effectively one character that is flipping. It's exactly the same way that polymorph works. When you become polymorph, it changes the skill set on your character. You get different skills, different stats. That is the way that it works. Now with Hydra, they don't change the stats. They just change the skill set. With Sheep, they change the stats. That's why we go a lot slower. It is the same technology. Now, if I'm hitting a sheep, I can hit the sheep as many times as I want. Right? That is exactly the same way that it goes. I haven't killed the sheep. It hasn't been removed from my targeting list. So what they're basically trying to say here is the target no longer exists. That is incorrect, because technically they only introduced this in this update. That is the code change that I saw yesterday. They physically added a new line of code, and it is literally quoted as, I'm going to get it up on screen right now so we can verify. Here we go. This is the change that I saw yesterday. Exclude, we can zoom it in here. They added exclude from targeting when dying. So they've added this into the game. This is an addition. This isn't what it was. It wasn't like a broken thing. It wasn't there and it not working. This is a new addition. They've deliberately added this in. Now, it could be that they've added this in so that it works in the way that they want it to, but to call it a tech error is not correct. I mean, there was no errors happening, and maybe there was an error with Loki or something, but I personally have run a lot of Hydra tests and various different things. There was no tech error. Maybe there was a design error, but certainly the game was not crashing because I was doing tremendous amounts of damage to a head when it was dead. Anyway, that's just the first point here. Is it a bug? No. They're saying there's tech errors. I'm not privy to what they're saying. They might decide that there's a lot of server-side problems it was creating. Fine. But to say that the target no longer exists was not the correct thing. Anyway, these errors are increasingly causing issues on the server and needed to be resolved before snowballing into game crashes. Well, I haven't seen a game crash on my side. Maybe someone else can attest. Obviously, I'm not privy to these things, so fair enough, it was causing server problems. Fine. Considering the urgency, we promptly addressed the issue and released a bug fix in 9.4. Unfortunately, due to a mistake on our side, we haven't mentioned this fix in the release notes. okay. I mean, they didn't urgently fix it, because if they had urgently fixed it, they would have fixed it the day after they did the 9.3 update. They would have fixed it in the test server. They would have fixed it in their QA testing. So this sense of urgency 1 month after we made the change is not urgent. Urgency in development is, oh lord, we have broken it. Urgency is Nogdar. When Nogdar was one-shotting the Sand Devil, that is an urgent fix. Urgency and not putting it in your release notes is just poor. That's just a poor way of delivering it. You made a major change that was clearly necessary, but you didn't even put it in your patch notes. That is, you can't really chalk that up to a, oh, we had to rush, so we didn't have time. I mean, you had a month. That's a long time. Due to the changes to the exposed nets mechanics, unfortunately, this fix was negatively affecting Hydra teams. Absolutely. Before 9.3, they had infinite HP, so all damage counted until a new Hydra head appeared, which prevented Hydra from being affected by these tech errors. I mean, I will say, here's a better solution for this. We have the clan boss. The clan boss, when it is defeated, remains on 1 HP, and I can overdamage the clan boss. So why can't we have a technical solution where once the Hydra head reaches 1, it remains unkillable, and then you have a passive effect that when the Hydra head hits 1 HP, it changes. The way that the battle engine works is, imagine a queue of actions. If I'm doing ally attack, I basically am putting in, I'm making my characters jump the queue. So if an enemy has a passive that does something like prohibits a death, right? We see this a lot, for example, with Rotus. Rotus won't get his turn until you've completed all of the actions. If you ally attack a Rotus, he doesn't all of a sudden jump in after you hit his 50% and take a turn. The way that it goes is a sequence. So if I've got an ally attack, every ally is in a queue. At the end of that queue, the boss takes a turn. So why can't we have the passive here effectively go, hey, when you've got 1 HP, you instantly convert back. But that passive is queued until the ally, your team, has completed its actions. It's exactly the same technology as Clan Boss. There's no real reason that you need to do this change and negatively affect the teams. There's absolutely already pre-programmed abilities in the game that works with what happens when a head reaches 1 HP. That's not a problem. After the update, 9.3 changes to Hydra mechanics, this situation could have occurred. Okay, so they've said the exposed neck has a small amount of HP left. Yes. You ally attack, great. All potential attacks added score, new head appears. Absolutely, that's what we've been doing. That is what I said when I did my first video on this change. Will overkill be allowed? That's the key thing. They're saying this is overkill, this is a problem. This was creating a situation where the game was trying to attack something that no longer existed. Incorrect. Launch attack animations with no targets. Incorrect. The target was there. And deal damage without a target. The target was there. I mean, I don't understand how they're saying that this was a problem. It may have been a problem for their server management, but the game that I was playing was not crashing. Anyway, after the fix, the exposed necks have a small amount of HP. Ally attack or multi-attacks used on it. Attacks that are registered until the target reaches 0 HP, then the skill stops. New head appears. That's the way it's working. Fundamentally, there is no difference between the player experience. Okay, there is no difference. If you think about it, I've killed it, I'm doing overkill damage, a new head appears. The difference is who is doing overkill damage. And this is the problem that I have with this change. If damage from a specific hit is greater than the target HP, the damage will add it to the full score, but any follow-up. So what's the issue here? Is the issue that damage to a head after it reaches 0 HP is causing server problems? So what you're essentially saying is you're absolutely fine with a one-hit wonder doing 70 million damage because it did it all in one go and that wasn't breaking the server. But because we have a system where we could have multiple hits hit that target, that's causing server problems. So maybe the issue actually isn't now a technical issue here. Maybe this is a balance issue. This is a game design issue. They're fundamentally saying they want overkill, but they only want overkill that doesn't break the game. I'm like, well, maybe you should just not have overkill. Maybe that's the problem. If you're saying when a Hydra head is killed, it goes away, then why are you allowed to overkill the Hydra head? That doesn't make any sense to me. And this is why, a lot of people yesterday, I saw a few comments like, oh, you're trying to get nerfs. I'm absolutely not. I'm trying to clarify the fact that this is encouraging one-hit wonder overkill again. It's going back to the reason why Trunder is so strong. If they don't want this Trunder team, they need to understand how to solve it, which is, hey, just nobody has overkill. That's a fair solution. If you want to do this, just stop overkilling. You can't really have this argument that you have tech debt and this is why it doesn't work. Like, then you need to have a game decision. Developers should go to design and say, this doesn't work from a tech debt solution. Are you happy with the game design? So what they're actually saying is they like the Trunder team. They want the Trunder team. or game dev is just not doing, design is just not doing its job. Okay, what else we got? Multi-hit or team-up attack stops only upon defeating the exposed neck. Yes. When a neck replaces a Hydra head, an incoming multi-hit will continue because the exposed neck is a different state of the same enemy. But they're a different state of the same enemy. I don't understand this argument. It's absolutely crazy to me. You don't kill anything. So if you kill something, it's a different state. You don't kill anything in Hydra. Just because a different head respawns, it's just incorrect to say this. It's not a completely different object. It's a different variation. If they said the exposed neck was a different object to the main head, and then the main heads were different to the exposed neck, I would agree. You simply cannot say that the exposed neck is the same as the original head. It has a different skill set. It's the same concept. Technologically wise, I'm talking from a tech point of view. On the other hand, the new head is completely different object, so multi-hit and attack stop after this swap. It's just wrong. With this technical aspect out of the way, we also want to address the overall situation. We regret it wasn't in the news. Fine, fair enough. This was a mistake on our side. We'll do best to prevent in the future. And to be fair, to give them some credit back, I know I'm being pretty critical here. Their tech and patch notes lately have been extremely good. I haven't really had to highlight any gaps. This is kind of like an ugly duckling in a series of good situations in the last 7 months, I would say. I would say their patch notes have been pretty good. Regarding the future Hydra, while Hydra is not a new feature, we see it as new due to changes to its core mechanics. We carefully monitor the situation and prepare further adjustments to improve the player experience. We're already testing some of these possible remedies for the Force Serpent's Will, looking at champions like Trunder, who might be overperforming. I'm saying this with a sarcastic tone because I feel like this is all we keep hearing. Underperforming strategies, balance adjustments that might need to be changed. We aim that change to the features done above board with as much explanation and motivation. So you can rest assured that whatever changes or tweaks we're making, you will see the description of what gets modified. I'll be honest, I think they've lost the player trust here because they came in with this video, this big bravado. We tested it. We took our time. We wanted to make sure we did it properly. We went in and we made sure that Trunder wasn't great. And within 5 minutes, I looked at the suggested changes without access to a test server. And my conclusion was Trunder will be about 5 times stronger than any other team. And so far, I watched Scratch's video yesterday where we pulled up the current world record with the next best thing. I think it was like 6.5 to 1.7. And it was on a bad Trunder rotation. It's not too far off that. It was about 3.6 on a bad Trunder rotation. So when you're saying, yeah, don't worry guys, trust us, we have it under control, I don't think you do. This is where you need to speak to your community. You need to speak to your creators, the experts who are running these teams. Go speak to the people that are running the best damage teams. Just pull them into a call, pull them into a conversation and ask them what is working, why it's working. Understand why is Trunder so powerful. Because if you want to solve the Trunder problem, you need to know why it's a problem. And I've been saying this over and over again. It is overkill damage. That excess damage is getting remultiplied. Make it fixed damage and Trunder is no longer a problem. And then we are not complaining. The only reason why we're super unhappy about this change is we've just rebuilt all of our teams. And then we keep seeing that Trunder is never affected. It only makes her stronger. So stable. If you want to make the goal that everyone has team diversity, undo the permataunt change, okay? If it's just a case of permataunt was enabling Wixwell, we'll just undo the permataunt changes there. Bring the goal and strategy of what taunt could do and just fix Wixwell. I know people hate the fact that I'm going to say this, but deleting all of the Emic teams that didn't use Wixwell, that used taunt for various different reasons, that could bypass the consumption mechanic, was a strategy that wasn't overpowered. I managed to get to like 300 million when I tried to do it because you need a lot of setup. It's not easy to do. Just undo that to bring some team diversity. If the goal was diverse teams, you're limiting options. You've taken away multi-hits. You've taken away ally attacks. You've taken away permataunt. You've taken away these Yannicka teams. You're just reducing options. What have we got in option? Okay, well, we had the Teox team. That's gone out the window now. So, even enemy max HP like Marius is getting penalized because all his subsequent attacks against that target is gone because the target is not on the battlefield anymore. So you're basically going towards back to a one-hit wonder, which is Trunder. I think that is what you need to do. You need to speak to people because this whole paragraph here is about as useful as an umbrella in a hurricane. It is not absolutely going to mean anything to you. I am reading this as a player, I'm reading it as a content creator, and I'm reading it as someone who understands how the code of this engine works. And this just tells me, oh, we upset everyone, let's just tell everyone we're on top of it. You're not. You don't understand the code, right? You just don't understand how to balance Hydra and the fun that people were having. Right now, there is nothing for a late game player to push, because Gold 4 Live Arena, you can put as many advanced quests as you really want in the game. Again, once you hit Gold 4, you can't get out of Gold 4 because you can't decay really, and you're just fighting teams with like 4+ mythicals. We have a ×2 primal right now, and you haven't even boosted the mythical chances, right? We haven't had a ×2 on that mythical for ages, and that's the problem with Live Arena. So you can't really push Live Arena. Classic Arena now, because of Live Arena, doesn't feel that interesting. Siege is great. I really like the Siege changes. But again, it's matchmaking. And if you get an easy clan, you just kind of blow through it and you're over in one day. There's nothing really to push for there. So Hydra was the only thing that sort of late game players could really like, okay, I can improve my damage. I can get an extra million. I can find this. This team is better. This champion is better. I don't think the motivation is there now. I think players have lost it because they've been double nuked, double nerfed. All of their teams have been taken away from them. And you just keep seeing the same old solution, which is just run a Trunda team. And there seems to be no appetite to just resolve this one problem, right? Just resolve this one problem and open up the opportunities to get more interesting teams. That is what I'm looking for here. I'm not looking to nerf Trunda. I'm looking to effectively make Hydra more interesting unless you can't have fun stuff to play with because it's exploitive. Anyway, that's the end of my rant there. I don't really have much trust and faith in their ability to make Hydra Clash balanced at this current present time, because all of the efforts they've spent the last 4 months to test it has all it's resulted in is Trunda is still the best team. It just does less damage, and now we have less options for players who are essentially not abusing the system to play the game mode because they've lost all their accessibility and stuff. It's becoming a harder game mode, but they haven't actually made the experience better, and it's still they haven't like made it worse, but at least solved the problems. They've just made it worse and not solved any problems. And to me, that's why I don't have faith here right now. And all this explanation about, well, this tech problems and this, like I said, clan boss, there's no problems. You're not breaking the game there. Technically, the target's dead. So just sequence it. When the heads don't die, they have a HP pool. When they hit 1 HP, they respawn to a different head object, and you just let the actions complete. It's not beyond precedent. The solution you've taken just nerfs more champions. There's a couple of other things here. There's some notes about Florins, rebalance. One other thing I do just want to talk about, let me just pull this up here. This was raised to me yesterday from the update that they posted around attack siege squalls distribution. And I misunderstood this somewhat. I think I have misunderstood it, and I want to talk about this just briefly. So they're basically fixing the problem of stronghold upgrades. When you upgrade a stronghold before this update, you essentially gave the enemy significant amount of attacks and gained nothing. So you gained 4 more defenses, but the enemy gained 30 more attack scrolls and 30 more rematch scrolls. So it's like, well, that's disproportionate, right? You're giving them so many more attacks and you don't have any more defenses. So naturally, nobody was upgrading anything because it was like, why would I give them more chances to win? This is dumb. That's not the point of upgrading. So they're now redistributing the attack scrolls. So what they're saying is attack scrolls are evenly distributed between all clan members. Okay, so they basically say there's going to be a pot of attack scrolls and they'll be equally distributed. So if I've got 30 attack scrolls, 10 members, every single one has 3. If the total number of attack scrolls, which is equal to the total number of enemy team spots, this is the big change. Right now, 60 defenses are set on a starting siege. You get 90 attack scrolls. So you're getting essentially 3 attacks for every 2 defense, right? That's the way it's working. 60 defenses, 90 attacks. This is changing. This is what I misunderstood. This is now going to become 60 attack scrolls. You don't have the freedom you used to have. This means if you've got a clan of 30 people and you need to basically have everyone attacking. This is a big change. Right now, you can have 10 people in the clan that just don't even care about siege. This change is massive because what this basically means is if I've got 30 people in my clan, they each have 2 attack scrolls. If I want to clear that siege, everyone must use their attack scrolls and win. It's a 100% requirement. That's a massive change because if someone in your clan doesn't want to do siege, they're now a liability for your clan potentially. That is the problem I have with that. It's like there's no freedom in the clan. You're making this more, you're forcing a clan to be fully siege engaged. So that's the number thing. So if the total number of these attack scrolls cannot be divided between members, the remaining attack scrolls are given to clan members according to their rank. So if you have 29 members, or for example, say that they upgrade and they put 63, well, there's 3 attack scrolls. So how do you give 3 to 30 people? Well, what are they going to do? The clan leader gets 1, and then the deputies and the lieutenants, right? So they're going to go clan leader 1, deputy, lieutenant, and they're going to work down that way. Makes sense. If there are several clan members with the same role, the ones with the higher team power will have a higher priority. Fair enough. I don't really think that's a good metric. You should give me the option, really. If I'm being honest, if I'm a clan leader, I would want to select which ones of my deputies get the extra attack scroll, not base it on some arbitrary calculation that doesn't really make much sense, if I'm being honest, because team power, let's just be real. If I put 2 mythicals in, they could be badly geared, but because they get double the amount of base stats, that's going to elevate their team power. So if someone puts a lot of mythicals in, they might not have the best gear. My non-mythical team might be stronger than that mythical team. It's a bit of an arbitrary thing. I would like this to be, hey, the clan leader can choose who amongst their deputies is the priority ordering when they're tying the roles. That's the way it should work. Give me the power. I'm the clan leader. I'm trying to organize this. Give me some more control. There are also a total of 5 attack scrolls given to the clan and distributed by the same logic. Okay, so there are 5 additional. Okay, so to answer some of this concern, they've given us 5 additional attack scrolls given to the clan and distributed by the same logic. So basically, we're going to have 65. So leadership has to basically, so you can effectively afford 5 individuals doing 1 attack, or 1 individual doing nothing, or 2 individuals doing nothing and 1 individual doing 1 attack. So there's a little bit of a leeway, but it's not much. It is really not much. So you've gone from having 30 excess, so 30 excess attacks and 30 excess rematches, to 5 and 5. That's a big drop. So I just want to really highlight this, that clans may have missed this. Be aware, this next siege is going to be harder. You need to check with your clans now. Are you going to be under? If you had 5 members in your clan chilling, not taking part, you won't be able to clear that map. You might be underwhelmed. You can't rely on just a few heavy hitters anymore. We're going to have to distribute the responsibilities. This makes it harder. And I'll be honest, they haven't really improved the system other than affecting numbers, right? They haven't introduced new ways for a clan to understand what members have. There's no replay system. There's no, go attack this beyond telling everyone. There's no coordination. There's no messaging system. There's nothing new. There is just, yeah, we've reduced the cost. We've changed the attack scrolls, and we've adjusted some numbers around how many points you get. So we'll see. Right now, this update is looking like a significant negative for me. It's a long video here breaking all this down, but effectively, what I'm trying to say, to summarize this video, their logic that they've got lots of tech errors sounds like the servers were breaking and they didn't really check with game balance. This issue of overkilling causing problems could have been resolved without having to kill multi-attack and ally attacks, and perhaps maybe this suggestion goes to them and they do fix it. To their credit, I don't want it to just sound like they don't know what they're doing. They're useless. They're not useless. They're just not thinking. They're not understanding the problem, and they're not talking to the people who know how to abuse the system. One of the biggest things when they did the Hydra video, when I was seeing it, creators were telling me, oh, don't worry. They've told us they've tested it with the best Hydra teams. They literally copied the team and ran auto. That's the only thing I can say, because I can produce those numbers in 5 minutes for what they were showing on that video. They didn't go to the people that had the world records and the creators that knew how to really manipulate that team and say, hey, can you use your team in our new testing environment here where we've got these new changes, and see if it's solved the problem? Have we fixed the problem? That didn't happen. They just ran it like, yeah, we solved the problem, let's move on. It's laziness rather than incompetence. They know what they're doing, they're just not thinking. They need to basically fix that bit. I don't think it's acceptable that ally attack and multi-attacks just suddenly stop. I know it's kind of what happens in the game when enemies die, but these heads are not killed. Either that, or open up the opportunities that it triggers on-killed effects, right? That way you can have Siegfried if you want, not just Trunda. That way you can have Wukong, not just Trunda. That way you can have things like Baron, not just Trunda. All of those mechanics, you can abuse them with the same way, but at least you're opening up more opportunities. Those all require you to kill a target. Trunda's the only one you don't. So maybe you do it that way. But whatever is the case, that is not an acceptable answer. Just because your servers were breaking, that doesn't mean you have to break everyone's teams a month after. It's not an urgent fix because you left it for a month. You should have said straight away this change was going to happen, or you need to start refunding players. Refund them some of these heroes they've invested in that they may have exclusively funded just for the between 9.3 and 9.4. Because I know there will be players that are probably watching this video that invested in a character that they're now no longer feeling like is going to work because of these changes. It's just not good enough. We'll have to see. That was kind of like the summary of this video. I wanted to break it down. I wanted to break it down in a more technical way than I did yesterday. And then obviously just mention the siege attack scroll here. Get ready for the next siege, guys. You need to be very mindful that you're not going to have as many attack scrolls. 65 if the enemy hasn't upgraded their base, which I know a lot of clans haven't. And then it's going to increase. You're going to get like 69 if they increase their stronghold. They increase another place. that's what's going to happen. So anyway, guys, that is the end of the video. Let me know in the comments below. How are you feeling about their response? Do you think it's fair? Do you agree with me? Am I being really harsh and critical? Let me know in the comments below. I really appreciate you all. And I will catch you in the next video.